What up? Day 41. Um, Damn, day 41. Sometimes I'm shocked at myself for making it this far. I didn't know if I was gonna make it this far, believe it or not. Um, I mean, I did set it as my resolution, but I still was a little shocked that I'm even this far. But I'm still nowhere near the end goal, right? Um, I'm interested to know how I'm gonna pull this off during my birthday. If I'm out or doing something, excuse me. If I'm out, I normally don't go out for my birthday, but I will be turning 40. So I'm like, should I do something? Because I don't do anything. But either way, I wanted to talk about this video I seen. I seen it a while ago, but somehow it just I started thinking about it due to a conversation I was having at the gym. And let me play this video. Hold on one second. Hold up. All right. It's not this one. It's this one.
So I'm asking you, since this is not a demonstration of a man, you need to tell me what man you're using to measure him with. Which one?
My idea.
Which is your idea.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that the idea you trained him up to be?
No.
Oh, so how in the blazing bejesus are you holding him accountable to a standard that you didn't teach him, his father didn't give him, he don't even know what it is, and yet as his mother, you sit in his face and tell him you don't respect him as a man?
Like I said, it was events. It wasn't just.
I'm talking about.
And it's also how he treats me.
Yeah, but
I'm talking.
Hello. You see, you are a provocative victim. You provoke stuff, and then when you start being held accountable for it, then you start twisting and turning and making the other person wrong. Look at me, Mom. Look at me. Look at me. You just sat here and told your son, who ain't got a needle in his arm, who I'm assuming pays his own rent. He's married to a registered nurse. He's got 3 baby boys. And you just sat here in his face and said, I don't respect him as a man.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't think to consider what that does to his heart, to his soul, to his spirit.
I'm sure that's hurtful.
And you okay with that?
And it's hurtful for the things that he says.
There you go. You're doing it. You're doing it right now. You're doing it right now. I'm holding you accountable and you spinning. You're spinning your web. You're trying to get away. You're trying to get away. Tell me. Just here's the question. Just answer it. We'll get back to that other stuff later. Tell me.
Forgive me. I respect him. He's a wonderful man.
Do you understand that your mouth, your voice, your words are connected to the coils in his heart, to the valves in his heart? He can't help but love you. And every time you dishonor that love, you chip a piece of it. In our culture as Black people, when the boys turn a certain age, the men come and get him and take him away from the mother because she can emotionally manipulate him. But since we don't live in our culture no more, we say what we want to say, do what we want to say. We tear our men down and then wonder why they don't make good husbands and fathers. Mothers destroy sons. His mother can speak to him in certain ways that destroy him in ways that can never be repaired. So I'm asking you.
It's a lot in this video. First is the lack of accountability. You know what I mean? That right there is very frustrating to watch. You could see that what's her name? Is it Ayana? I think it's Ayana. But whatever the lady's name is, the therapist, you've seen the frustration. At one point, when she said your mouth, that right there, your mouth or something, you could tell she just wanted to just slap her. That's how she felt. You could see it. It's that frustration. And it was all because the mom realized she was wrong. But the thing is, when you realize you're wrong, you got to just eat it. You got to own it. You can't sit there and try to say, yeah, you're right. Like, she was like, yeah, he's a good man. He's a good man. Like, so condescending, so diminishing, so like just putting him off, like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Well, but deep down inside, I don't know if she even know. Maybe she don't feel that way. But either way, it's one or two things that happens where she could either have said it and meant it, but wanted to save face, or just kind of said it like whatever, or she could have said it just to move on, but didn't really mean it. But both scenarios are terrible. Both scenarios are bad because one, how don't you see what's going on? And don't concede just to concede. I hate when people do that. Don't concede just to concede. And when you really feel it that you're wrong and you are conceding, don't do it in a manner that makes it seem like you're just doing it just to move on, right? No, acknowledge it. Be humble. The same energy that you put into arguing back, you need to put that same energy into admitting that you're wrong. I'm gonna play some of it again.
Since this is not a demonstration of a man, you need to tell me what man you're using to measure him with. Which one?
My idea.
Which is your idea.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that the idea you trained him up to be?
No.
Oh, so how in the blazing bejesus are you holding him accountable to a standard that you didn't teach him, his father didn't give him?
So right there alone, that should have been the end of the discussion. She shouldn't be able to say anything in return. My idea, did you teach him to be what your idea is? No. End of the discussion. Why is it anything else past this? I don't understand. This is the frustration, of dealing with people who just cannot be accountable for their actions. That's crazy to me. Let's keep going.
He don't even know what it is. And yet, as his mother, you sit in his face and tell him you don't respect him as a man.
Like I said, it was events. It wasn't just.
I'm talking
And
about
it's also how he treats me.
Yeah, but
He don't respect me
hello.
as a mom.
How he treats her. I guarantee you he treats her that way from all the damage that she has caused. First of all, like I said in previous videos, my reaction to your action you cannot get mad at my reaction to your action. Or you can, but you got to get over it real quick, because at the end of the day, she created this. She literally just said, I didn't teach him how to be the man I wanted him to be, but yet holds him to a standard of being that man. Mind you, it's her son, not her actual man. But she didn't teach him any of that stuff, but feels like he should know it. He should just know it.
You see, you are a provocative victim. You provoke stuff. And then when you start being held accountable for it, then you start twisting and turning and making the other person wrong. Look at me, Ma. Look at me. Look at me. You just sat here and told your son, who ain't got a needle in his arm, who I'm assuming pays his own rent. He's married to a registered nurse. He's got 3 baby boys. And you just sat here in his face and said, I don't respect him as a man.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't think to consider what that does to his heart, to his soul, to his spirit.
I'm sure that's hurtful.
And you okay with that?
And it's hurtful for the things that he says.
There you go.
There she go again. It's hurtful for the things he says to me. It doesn't matter at this point. When you start causing damage, you start tearing a person down and they react, you cannot be the victim when you was the person that started everything. I cannot stand that. I can't stand that. You are the cause. So whatever is coming back is just what you put out there. So you can't play the victim role now and say, oh, well, look how he's treating me. Look what you've been doing. You've been damaging him this whole time. You've been putting him down. You've been holding him to expectations of being a man that you did not teach him, nor would you even really have been super successful at teaching him that, because she's not a man. So, maybe you should have let him be with his father if the father was around, but this is a big issue. And then she just, well, look how he treats me. That's not frustrating. Ladies, I'm sorry. watching that, listening to her, does that not frustrate y'all? And if it does frustrate y'all, how many times have y'all done this and know you was doing this and still just kept doing it? And I'm not talking about to your son. I'm talking about just the lack of accountability, the flipping it, and all of this, how she's doing it, knowing you created the problem. And if you can't really give me a number, that means that you must feel that most of the time you're not doing that, which is a problem, because it's a trait that typically most of y'all have. Let's keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? And people in general have it. But it is a trait that I tend to see a lot more in women. And when, someone holds them accountable, they just somehow spin it. And Ayana is a woman, a therapist, and you can see her frustration. And she's saying all of the things, like you playing a victim, a provocative victim is the word she used. And you got to think about it. Like, I'm going to keep playing it.
Hello, you're doing it. You're doing it right now. You're doing it right now. I'm holding you accountable, and you spinning your web. You're trying to get away. You're trying to get away. Tell me, just here's the question.
See, spinning it. That frustration that y'all see Ayana getting. Yeah, I'm sure y'all have seen that in men, and they get that frustrated. And it's not men just act. It's just, this is how it is. And I'm going to play another video to show y'all that it's hard sometimes. Men, we love y'all. We love women. Sometimes it is difficult dealing with y'all, as I'm sure it is difficult for y'all dealing with us. But a lot of the times, y'all be creating more of a problem because y'all just don't want to be held accountable. Then when you start being held accountable, the next thing you do is you start crying. You know what I'm saying? Like when all shit hits the fan, it's like, here come the waterworks. That's the issue. I'm going to play this one video. I'm going to come back to this Ayana video, but I'm going to just show y'all how difficult it is sometimes dealing with y'all.
Because I've dated men and I've dated women. After having a serious girlfriend, I've literally reached out to exes and apologized to them. Because
I love that.
I saw the worst version of myself.
That.
I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Like, you're over here and I'm just trying to get dressed. Because
boom. And I've heard this from many women who've been with women and men. I've talked to a lot. Obviously, there's way more lesbians out there than I talk to, but I've talked to enough to get the same understanding, which is dealing with women be harder than dealing with the men. And a lot of women say, they want to end up going back to men. Why is that? Think about that for a second. So every time you being difficult, every time you get into it with your spouse or partner, you got to look back and think to yourself, damn, am I doing something wrong? Like it can't always be every man you come across. Especially for the men that you like, you grown to like him because how he thinks, and his logic. But then when it goes against you, now all of a sudden you start dismissing what he's saying, and what he says no longer holds any weight. It's like, oh, he's not making any sense. He's the problem. Nah, you liked him because of how he thought. So let's go back to the Ayana thing.
So I'm asking you, since this is not a demonstration of a man, you need to tell me what man you're using to measure him with. Which one?
My idea.
Which is your idea.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that the idea you trained him up to be?
No.
Oh, so how in the blazing bejesus are you holding him accountable to a standard that you didn't teach him, his father didn't give him, he don't even know what it is, and yet as his mother, you sit in his face and tell him you don't respect him as a man?
Like I said, it was events. It wasn't just.
I'm talking about
and it's also how he treats me.
Yeah, but
don't
I'm
respect me
hello.
as a mom, so.
You see, you are a provocative victim. You provoke stuff. And then when you start being held accountable for it, then you start twisting and turning and making the other person wrong. Look at me, Ma. Look at me. Look at me. You just sat here and told your son, who ain't got a needle in his arm, who I'm assuming pays his own rent. He's married to a registered nurse. He's got 3 baby boys. And you just sat here in his face and said, I don't respect him as a man.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't think to consider what that does to his heart, to his soul, to his spirit.
I'm sure that's hurtful.
And you okay with that?
And it's hurtful for the things that he says.
But there you go. You're doing it. You're doing it right now. You're doing it.
That's frustrating. But I'm gonna read some of these comments. So first comment, my comment's up there too. But first comment, mom is upset that, and let me just read this first. Mom is upset that another woman they meant to put in, but is in her son's life. This is a mother who doesn't know her place and is jealous that he has moved on from her. Mamas, your sons are not replacement husbands or your emotional support system. Go to therapy and get a life and stop degrading your grown sons because they are doing for their family what their fathers don't do for them. You should be proud of him. I actually know that person too. But but yeah, what I'm curious, because this happens a lot from moms to sons, right? What I'm curious is to women out there, how often is it happening that a father has a close relationship with his daughter, a man comes into the daughter's life, and now all of a sudden that father is acting like this mother? Because I've never heard of it, but just because I haven't heard of it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. But I would love to know how often that's happening, because I don't see that happening a lot. And if it doesn't, then we got to start looking at, okay, what are the causes for men and how they act today? No, we had these conversations before. It's been going on the internet and all of that stuff, but we got to really dive deep into it and figure out what is the cause, because if this type of behavior he has to deal with, the fact that he does have a wife and is doing well, I guess, is a miracle. But at the end of the day, this is bad behavior. And I really don't see it happening a lot. Like my girls, they close, especially my youngest girl. I'm close to my youngest girl, right? But moms have done this traditionally, where it's like their sons become like their boyfriends. Like they act like, I've heard, and I'm sure y'all seen it, where they be like, "Oh, look at my sexy man." And why are you calling your son sexy? Why are you addressing him that way? Why are you, like, just, you're too close with him, sleeping in the bed with him. Like, at a certain age, your kids should be out of your bed. My daughter is not sleeping in bed. Now, I will say this: when I split from my marriage, and my youngest would come, she would always want to come sleep with me, right? But prior, that's because she didn't see me a lot. But when I was married, me and her mom were together, she didn't come sleep there. It just was a, I don't see you often type of thing, right? But that only lasts for like maybe 2 years. At like 7, 8, then she was just like, nah. She just go sleep with her brothers on the one of them would sleep on the floor or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's a sleepover, sleeping bags, all of that stuff, right? But there's a lot of women out there that still sleep with their sons on a regular, and they say something like, because they feel lonely. You know what I mean? Like, no, that's not your replacement. Get your shit together so you can get a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, your son should not be, because imagine if dads was doing that, like treating their daughters like they was the replacement to a woman. You know what I mean? They be calling child protective services on him. You know what I mean? He have all types of cases on him. It's not okay. You got to change that. It's not okay. And this woman right here is clearly, a great example of that. I guarantee you, he probably slept in the bed with her till he was like 11 or something like that. You know what I mean? So we got to stop that. But I'm going to play some more.
Right now, I'm holding you accountable, and you spinning your web. You're trying to get away. You're trying to get away. Tell me, here's the question. Just answer it. We'll get back to that other stuff later. Tell me.
Forgive me. I respect him. He's a wonderful man.
See, look
Do
at
you
that.
understand that your
Look how she. I respect that he's the one. That shit right there is why. At that moment, does she realize that she's being wrong, and then she just saying it to move on, or is she just saying it to move on, but she don't really feel like she's wrong? I don't know. Either way, it looked bad. That's one thing that you cannot do. When let's say if she do realize, like I said earlier in the video, but if she realized she was wrong, that at the end of the day, she needs to say it in a manner that's humbling. When you don't say it in a manner that's humbling, that is a slap in the face. It's like, why are we even having this discussion? Think about that. Y'all seen it. If you don't say it in a manner that's humbling, then it makes the other person feel like, yo, they don't respect nothing I'm saying. You feel what I'm saying? So let me keep going.
your mouth, your voice, your words are
She wanted your mouth, your voice. You could tell she wanted to slap fire out her right there, yo. Like for real.
connected to the coils in his heart, to the valves in his heart. He can't help but love you. And every time you dishonor that love, you chip a piece of it. In our culture as Black people, when the boys turn a certain age, the men come.
But then here's the thing. The way she treating him. So later in life, 30 years, 40 years from now, if he doesn't take care of her, now society is looking at him, his mom, family members like, damn, you ain't take care of your mom. She just said, you chipping a piece of my love away. So if you chipping a piece of that love, what do you think is going to happen when he get older? He might not want to be there for you. He might dislike her so much that he's like, you know what, whatever. So be careful.
Come and get him and take him away from the mother because she can emotionally manipulate him. But since we don't live in our culture no more, we say what we want to say, do what we want to say. We tear our men down and then wonder why they don't make good husbands and fathers. Mothers destroy sons.
And this is another reason why sons need to be with their dad. So if the parents don't work out, if the relationship doesn't work, at some point, once a son gets to a certain age, it is imperative that he goes with his father. Because then he needs a man to truly raise him and teach him how to be a man. It is vital. I'm glad that there was, in my situation, there was no pushback, or anything like that. So I was able to get my boys no problem. But for a lot of men out there, that's not the case. They can't get their sons, and moms got to realize, just because you don't like certain things about the relationship with you and the dad doesn't mean that he's not more suitable to raise the son at a certain age. You could not like how he talked to you when y'all were together, but it don't mean that he's not suitable to raising his son. Even if he uses the same type of verbiage and talks to his son the same way he was talking to you that you didn't like and felt like it was slightly abusive, it doesn't matter. At some point, he's still going to need, if he's a father that is there for his son, what you deem as verbally abusive might not be. You just don't like it. You know what I'm saying? So you don't really know, but at the end of the day, he's still going to need that. He still needs some of that tough. The job of a father partially is to be harder on your kids than the world is going to be. You know what I'm saying? The mother's job is to nurture that child when they feel beat down and defeated. But the dad has to be tough, because the world is tough, especially on men, and especially on Black men. It's even worse. So he has to be tough, still be there though, still be supportive. It's a combination. You can still be loving. I'm tough on my sons, but they know I'm still there for them. They know I still support them, but I'm tough on them. And maybe I could be even tougher, to be honest with you. But sometimes I be feeling a little bad, but I probably should be a little tougher. But when I talk to them at times and we have real talks, and when I'm thinking I'm being a little too tough, and I talk to them and they say, no, I'm not. And it just reassures me that, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And they honestly feel like that, because I give my sons opportunity to talk. I am hard on them, but they don't feel like I'm being too hard on them. They might feel it like in the very moment, because it's kids. Kids they want to get their way, right? But when I talk to them later, they like, no, I'm glad you're there for me. I'm glad you are who you are. I'm glad you taught me all these things, because they see it benefit them later. It's just in the moment, I be feeling like they ain't listening, and then two, they might feel like, oh man, dad's being hard on me again. But it is important. So just because, and seeing how I talk to them, maybe let's just say hypothetically, I ain't putting out my business there, but let's just say if my ex-wife didn't like how I was talking, right? But it doesn't mean it doesn't translate to raising boys. So that's what I'm saying, mothers, you got to be careful with that too. Just because your relationship with the father didn't go well, and maybe you argued, and maybe you didn't like how he talked to you when you argued, doesn't mean that your son don't need that, because your son or y'all son needs that tough love. They need that. It's hard out here. It's hard out here for men, and you can't be soft, right? Remember, the same way you feel like all these men out here, when you go into the dating pool, aren't real men, it's because they being raised by women as being soft. Or if a woman is she's like, I ain't about to raise no soft boy, she's too emotional and she's going extra hard at him, and the son doesn't know how to accept that, because it's still coming from a woman. It's weird. It's different. It's not the same. You know what I'm saying? It feels like more just of a lashing out and her being over emotional versus, a man trying to keep his son on track, help him to regulate his emotions, being that authoritative figure versus just being someone that, like when it comes to a woman doing that to her son, to her son, he just starts to going into, I need to please mommy. You know what I mean? It becomes, I just need to please mommy, however that may look. Or he just going to completely rebel. But so you could also end up raising him to be, soft in relationships, because I just need to please that woman. And we all know how that goes. When you just a pushover, women don't respect it. So it's a little bit different coming from a man when he's doing it. It just looks like discipline. That's the word I was looking for. It looks like you're just being disciplined. It's structure. It's keeping you focused. That's how sons are going to take it coming from a man, even if they going against it, because that's what kids do initially, but they understand it a little bit different. But when they're coming from a woman, I just need to please mommy, and they don't get them anywhere. Let me see if any comments. Oh, he said, hold up. Oh, damn, my fault, y'all. I didn't even read these comments. Let me read some of these. I've never heard that happening where fathers act like a woman. Yes. She needs a life. I believe that if she had a man, she wouldn't be that way. I believe that she's wishing she had a man like her son, responsible and in a committed, solid relationship. Yeah, me too. What time is it? Because maybe I missed. Okay. And then Brian, you put a 100, and then what up, DJ IMB? All right, so let me go back to this. I guess I can stay right here. Let me go to some more of the comments real quick, because I lost my train of thought. I love the new trend of Black women holding Black women accountable. I want to read what the women say. I already know what the men going to say. Is this a woman, a provocative victim? And then she put, yeah, that's accountability is good. That's definitely a man. Where the women at? Where the women? Some mothers destroy their children. Ayana is exceptionally gifted. Yeah. And she get mad too. Look, that's the crazy thing. I was having this discussion just the other day where it was talking about how yelling doesn't work. It was from that funny video from like 2 days ago where the guy, he eventually had to yell something for the guy to understand. And the person was telling me, for a person who's been in the field as a behavior counselor and all this, for so long, and she was like, the fact that you don't know that yelling doesn't work. And I'm like, that's bullshit. Yelling does work at times. I'm not saying you come out the gate yelling, but sometimes, and it was a whole compilation. I wish somebody could find me that compilation, but there's a compilation where it was parents giving orders to their kids, and the kids wasn't listening, like they wasn't comprehending it. The parent yelled, and now all of a sudden the kid got it. So it works. Just because you shut down when you're being yelled at doesn't mean that it doesn't work. And a lot of times people don't always shut down. They hear it. They just a lot of times don't want to admit that they got it now. Because now when they're being yelled at, it's like, oh, well, accountability is going out of the window now. So I don't like the fact that you're yelling. But do you understand what the hell I'm saying? Because if you understand what I'm saying, now that I'm yelling, let's just keep moving. Nope, they want to focus on the fact that you're yelling at me now. I shouldn't have even been yelling, because when I was explaining it to you calmly, it was not registering. But now that I'm yelling, it is registering. Now you just want to move on because you don't like being yelled at. You're wrong, and being yelled at on top of it is the worst. But either way, yeah, this so yelling does work, sometimes. It's not saying you always go to yelling as a form of communication, but people get it. People get it. Let me read some more of these comments. Hold on. Yeah, I realize Instagram will repeat the same comments over and over. So, well, I just read some of what the dudes put, because there ain't enough women commenting. She doesn't respect him because she doesn't control him. That's not true. She wouldn't respect him if she did control him. She'd just be happy because she can control him. When he got married, she lost control. Then his wife has a career. He has children. He's the man she wishes she had. She's the woman she wishes she was. He doesn't owe his mother anything. Respect is even a flimsy proposition if she can't give it to him equally. Yeah. This is so hard. Only men can raise men. The irony is these women are raising boys to become the exact men they complain about. Is wild. Yes, that's true. And like I said, that starts even from childhood. Like I said, what the players out there, a lot of times when they was younger, they was told, like I said, the ladies, the mothers would be like, oh, look at my little sexy man, which is weird because that's your kid. Oh, he gonna be a heartbreaker. And then the friends saying he gonna be a heartbreaker. Okay, he grows up, he becomes a heartbreaker, but now he broke, 100 women heart out there, and they mad like, damn, not realizing that he's been told this all his life. You know what I mean? So you raising him up to be the man that you complain about, but it becomes someone else's problem later. And then the cycle just continues over and over. This is the same exact thing when a woman that doesn't know her biological father tries to tell me what a real man is. It's hilarious. Yes, it's crazy. But I don't know. What y'all think? I think I'm going to end it right here. 33 minutes in. I don't want to stretch it too long. Pause. Yo, B, you want to come on? I can send you an invite. I need your email. I can send you an invite. You could come up here. Let me know. Yes, no, maybe so. All right, I don't see nothing in the comments saying anything, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this shit right here. I had more to say, but I had forgot when I started reading y'all comments. So, all right, till next time. Send me y'all videos, man, because I need some topics. Peace.